something which is going to perhaps fall back on them. What's the response which is...
Good evening. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. The DMK seems to have made it a habit of stoking controversy with its comments on the Sanatan Dharma. Last year, the future of the party and the party's successor to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin, his son, Udayanidhi Stalin, called for the eradication of the Sanatan Dharma. Close on the heels of that, A. Raja, Member of Parliament of the party, a former union minister, likened the Sanatan Dharma to leprosy. He struck once again, many would say. A. Raja's video from March 3rd has surfaced now, in which he says Tamil Nadu will never accept the BJP's ideology of Jai Shree Ram and Bharat Mata. He was addressing a public event in Madurai that marked the birthday of Chief Minister MK Stalin, where he made those comments. Now, many would say the DMK is a repeat offender, as it has failed to take decisive action against a number of its leaders for insulting Hindus and their faith. Back then, when those comments were made, the Congress in the India bloc found itself in a catch-22 situation. Is it easier said than done to insulate yourself from a controversy that your ally is mired in repeatedly? Is there a pattern that seems to be emerging? Can these allies from the India bloc get past the unease that these controversies create? And the million-dollar question, will these comments and will these controversies adversely affect the opposition front's chances in the upcoming election? Before we get into that debate, let's take a look at how the story panned out now. DMK's A. Raja is not the only one who's made controversial comments in hurting faith. I'll take you across to what DMK's A. Raja said, but the entire alliance seems to be launching an attack on the faith of millions of Indians, as the BJP alleges. Let's take a look at the comments that came to the fore today. Let's begin with what A. Raja of the DMK said. He said, "We don't accept Jai Shree Ram or Bharat Mata, or that the state of Tamil Nadu will never do so." They, referring to the BJP, want you to chant Jai Shree Ram and starve, is what Rahul Gandhi said while he was on his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra. Then we had a TMC MLA who came out and said that non-Brahmin Prime Minister's presence at the Pran Pratishtha ceremony of the Ram Temple has made the Ram Temple an unholy one. This is what happened today. Cut across a few months ago, September 2023, that's when this entire thing started. Udayanidhi Stalin back then had said that Sanatan Dharma is like malaria, it's like dengue. He had called for eradication of the Sanatan Dharma altogether. Close on the heels of that, A. Raja back then too had come out and said that it's not just dengue and malaria. Sanatan is as disgusting as leprosy and as HIV. These kind of comments had triggered massive controversy back then. They continue to do so now. Now, as we see A. Raja come out and make these comments that he has, it only adds to the heat that the DMK is facing. Just yesterday, which is roughly 6 months after Udayanidhi Stalin's remarks, the Supreme Court called him out for abusing his right to free speech and for ignoring the consequences. Here's a highlight of what the Supreme Court said in its observations just yesterday. The Supreme Court said, "You abuse your rights under Article 19 that guarantee you free speech. You abuse your rights under Article 25 that give you the freedom to profess any religion as well." Those were the remarks that were made against Udayanidhi Stalin. You're now invoking the right under Article 32, which is a breach of fundamental right. How can you do that? Was a question the Supreme Court had to ask of Udayanidhi Stalin. They also reminded him that you're not a layman, you're a minister, you're one in a position, in a place of position. What you say makes a difference to the lives of people, is what the Supreme Court wanted to point out. You should know the consequences of these utterances, was a reminder that the Supreme Court sent out to Udayanidhi Stalin. Now, this has triggered a massive controversy. Responding to A. Raja's comments specifically today, BJP came out and said that DMK first made derogatory remarks against the Sanatan Dharma. They then went on to target the idea of India and of the Prime Minister itself. Let's take a look at the kind of critique that has come to the fore from the BJP ranks. Remember, Prime Minister Modi was in Chennai yesterday. He too, during his public gathering yesterday, raised this issue. He said that insulting the faith of crores of Indians, crores of people, is the identity of such dynasty. He was referring to Udayanidhi Stalin. BJP President JP Nadda also came out and said that it's not just the DMK, the entire opposition alliance, which is the India bloc, is forced to target the Sanatan Dharma. Then we had Home Minister Amit Shah as well. He said that the India alliance only insults Sanatan Dharma because that's their politics of vote bank, and that is what they're looking at. We had several others from the BJP. Ravi Shankar Prasad also then coming out and saying specifically about A. Raja that these kind of remarks reflect the language of Maoists. Now, so far, we've had the Congress who's distanced themselves completely from this kind of controversy. We do not agree with these comments, is what they said. But can they effectively isolate themselves? Can the entire India bloc isolate themselves if such kind of comments and controversies come to the fore ever so often? Which is why, on this edition of Plain Speak, we ask this question. Is this attack on Astha of several Indians, of several of their voters, will that hurt the chances of the India bloc?
இதுதான் ஜெய் ஸ்ரீராம் என்றான், இதுதான் பாரத் மாதா की जय என்றான்.
इसके लिए जो है देश प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और राष्ट्रपति को भी पत्र दिया जाएगा.
ये सब वो लोग हैं जो टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग का समर्थन करते हैं.
मोदी जी चाहते हैं कि आप दिन भर मोबाइल पे रहो, जय श्री राम बोलो और भूखे मर जाओ.
And his comments, it will be good material instead of comics for the common people to laugh.
Joining me on this broadcast, C. Rajsekharan, President of the Voice of Tamil Nadu, joins us. Activist Rahul Ishwar, Manoj Yadav, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, and Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the DJP, will be joining us shortly as well. Let me get started by asking C. Rajsekharan. We see these kind of comments come to the fore from the DMK. They see nothing wrong in it. They say we're talking about inequality and that's all that is. We're not trying to attack anyone's faith. Is that an argument that holds water? Many say it doesn't.
See, what Mr. A. Raja had said was in the context of within the purview of law and the constitution. He did not speak anything against the nation, anything against the country, or anything against the well-being of the citizens of this country. He just said, whatever our legends, leaders, the forefathers of our constituent assembly had coined, had evolved from pre-independence to post-independence is being followed. If somebody attempts or tries to remove whatever they had drafted us, or if they try to eliminate the constitution and the contents of the constitution, definitely India will break. So it is union of states, and we are all patriotic Indians, and we are together with a great lovely country called India, and there are different culture, different language, and it cannot be one. It is everything put together is this country called India. He just spoke real sense, mind-blowing interpretation of the constitution, and he never spoke anything against the nation or its unity or secularism or anything with regard to the constitution. He never spoke against the constitution. He was within the purview of law and the constitution.
So when he says that we're not a nation, because if you're one nation, then you need to speak one language, you need to have one culture, which we do not. But India is a country that has celebrated its diversity. Which is which is why the criticism today, which is why the allegation from the BJP and many others that this is a secessionist line that he's trying to toe.
No. You can interpret it in whatever way you want to, for the benefit of political mileage. But fact of the matter is, whatever he spoke was in real sense and spirit of this country's patriotism. He spoke in the interest of the nation's unity. You see, he's not somebody who doesn't understand constitution or who doesn't understand law. He's a lawyer by profession, and he never spoke out of context, which we should understand in the right sense and right spirit.
Sure.
See, if you want to interpret it and say that he is going against the constitution, is going against the nation, is ridiculous, because whatever he spoke is real sense. You cannot selectively correct few sentence or words from whatever he spoke,
Sure.
a lengthy speech, and say that he is speaking against the country. Sounds really funny and stupid. And let us be fair when we make any comments about every Indian is a patriotic Indian. Nobody has the right to give another person the certificate of patriotism.
Sure.
It is not one party which has got only the right to say that we are patriotic, you are anti-national. Who the hell gave those people the right? See, I am
Sure.
an Indian. I am a Tamilian. I am a proud Tamilian. I am a patriotic Indian. That is the spirit of every person, every citizen in the state living in throughout
Sure.
the country.
Sure, so that's one aspect of what A Raja has said. There's
Malayali.
another aspect of what he spoke about Bharat Mata and Jai Shree Ram. But before I get in on that, let me get in Charu Pragya of the BJP. Charu Pragya, the DMK is not on this panel, but many who back what A Raja has said come out and say that, especially as far as the India is not a nation comment that the BJP is talking of, has been taken out of context. He's not trying to toe a secessionist line. He's trying to, in fact, make a nuanced point of what India represents. It's just being taken out of context by the BJP is the allegation.
Good evening, Shivani. And tell me, how nuanced can a comment be if we have television debates about it? Is it nuanced if it's hurting my sentiments and the sentiments of every other Indian? And tell me what is nuanced, and I'm reading and quoting verbatim the statement of A. Raja. Tamil is one nation, one country. Malayalam is one language, one nation and one country. Oriya is a nation, a language and a country. Is there two ways of translating this? Because from any angle that you look at this statement, it proves that here is a man who is a citizen of India, who understands that being an Indian means you have one constitution, you have one flag, you protect your borders with one single army, and yet you are talking like this. And he's also gone on to say that be grateful I'm not following the Periyar way and asking for a separate country of Tamil Nadu. So what are you doing exactly, and why is it that time after time after time you have to stand with people, DMK and their allies, all of them, you have to stand with people who find their joy in disrespect, whether it is to our gods, whether it is to our country, who find their joys in putting down other people who do not think like them, because he was calling all kinds of diseases to people who follow Sanatan Dharma. मतलब क्या-क्या उसने नहीं बोल डाला. And we wouldn't be having a debate if he was making a nuanced observation about everything. I am sorry, this is political opportunism. You come here and you try and defend the indefensible. And
Sure.
if it was easy to defend Shivani, why did DMK even refuse to be on your debate? Please tell me.
Sure,
And oh yes, by the way, Stalin Jr. had apologized last time. So it's back to a full circle for his people, right?
Sure. So when the DMK and those who back the DMK say that this is political opportunism, let me also ask what the allies of the DMK feel. Manoj Yadav, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, is also with us here on this edition. Manoj Yadav ji, जिस तरह की टिप्पणियां आई हैं ए राजा की तरफ से, उदयनिधि स्टालिन की तरफ से इन द पास्ट, जय श्री राम के बारे में जो चर्चा हो रही है, राहुल गांधी ने आज कहा है, ये सारे आपके एलाइज हैं. क्या आप एक स्ट्रॉन्ग स्टांस लेंगे उनके खिलाफ कि जो कह रहे हैं ये गलत है?
पूनम जी नमस्कार. आपको और आपके पैनल में बैठे सभी लोगों को मेरा गुड इवनिंग. ये बात बड़ी है और बड़ा सवाल है कि आखिर ये क्या परिवर्तन हो गया देश में 2014 के बाद कि लगातार लोग धर्म पे, ईश्वर पे टिप्पणी कर रहे हैं. क्यों? ये सवाल उतना महत्वपूर्ण है जितना इस देश में सांस लेना और हमारे शरीर के लिए महत्वपूर्ण है कि हम सांस कैसे लें, जिंदा कैसे रहें. इसके पीछे की बड़ी घटनाएं हैं. किसी को जाति के हिसाब से बांटा गया, किसी को धर्म के हिसाब से बांटा गया, किसी को क्षेत्र के हिसाब से बांटा गया. एक विचारधारा है, उसको हम आरएसएस कहते हैं. अगर आप संविधान को गाली दोगे, समाजवाद को गाली दोगे, सेकुलरिज्म को गाली दोगे, मनुस्मृति की स्थापना करना चाहोगे, तो मैं ऐसा महसूस करता हूं कि जो व्यक्ति उन चीज़ों में, जिन चीज़ों की मैं बात कर रहा हूं, और जो दूसरी तरफ है बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर का संविधान और उन सारी चीज़ों पे जिस पे ये देश चलता है, उन चीज़ों पे अगर कोई टिप्पणी करेगा तो मैं दावे से कह रहा हूं कि उसका रिफ्लेक्शन आएगा. मैं इसका पक्षधर नहीं हूं, धर्म पे कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करनी चाहिए। लेकिन एक मेरा सवाल है, अगर धर्म पे टिप्पणी आ रही है, कुछ चीज़ हो रहा है, तो इट्स नॉट पॉलिटिकल सब्जेक्ट। हमारे धर्माचार्य हैं और इस देश में मेरे ख्याल से पूरी दुनिया में अगर किसी देश में सबसे ज़्यादा धर्माचार्य हैं धर्म की रक्षा के लिए, नॉट गवर्नमेंट की रक्षा के लिए, धर्म की रक्षा के लिए पूनम जी, तो वो इंडिया में है।
बट टिप्पणियां सर दोनों तरफ से आ रही हैं और जो लिंक आप जोड़ रहे हैं कि शायद आरएसएस भाजपा ने 2014 के बाद ये सारी टिप्पणियां होना शुरू हुई, इसीलिए ये सारे रिएक्शंस आ रहे हैं, तो क्या आप कह रहे हैं कि जो रिएक्शंस आ रहे हैं वो ठीक है? क्या आप उससे सहमत हैं? मेरा ये सवाल।
अच्छा आपने सवाल पूछ लिया, आपने बड़ा अच्छा सवाल पूछ लिया। और एक बयान आया था, उस बयान को मैं डिकोड करना चाहता हूं। कहा था कि साहब ऐसा है, जो किसी दक्षिण के मंत्री ने कहा था कि जो उत्तर भारत के लोग हैं वो टॉयलेट साफ करते हैं, लैट्रिन साफ करते हैं, ऐसा कुछ बोला था। तो उसके पीछे की बड़ी लंबी और बहुत छोटी सी कहानी को मैं बता दे रहा हूँ। अवैध रूप से यूएस बॉर्डर क्रॉस करने वाले भारतीयों का आंकड़ा जो है, जो मेरा नहीं है, यूएस कस्टम्स एंड बॉर्डर प्रोटेक्शन का आंकड़ा है, जिन्होंने बताया कि 2012 में 642 लोग किसी यूएस कंट्री के सराउंडिंग के देशों से अवैध रूप से घुसपैठ करते थे। वो 2023 में हो गया 96,917 हो गया है, 96,000 के करीब हो गया, यानी 1 लाख टच करने वाला है। जो भारतीय हैं वो जा रहे हैं। दूसरा, भारत की नागरिकता छोड़ने वाले जो लोग हैं उनकी संख्या लगातार भारत से दोगुनी हो गई है पहले से। और ये वो फोटोज़ हैं, जो इंडियंस हैं जो क्रॉस करके बॉर्डर अवैध रूप से जाते हैं। इसीलिए कहा गया, क्योंकि साउथ इंडिया के नहीं है ये लोग, ये नॉर्थ इंडिया के, गुजरात के लोग हैं सबसे ज़्यादा, 80 to 90%। तो दक्षिण का कोई मंत्री कहेगा नहीं कि उत्तर भारतीय टॉयलेट साफ करते हैं।
तो इसका और जो सनातन धर्म और जो रिलीजन पे सवाल उठ रहे हैं, इसका क्या लेना देना है सर? मेरा एक सवाल था मनोज यादव जी आपसे, एक सीधा सवाल था।
कैन आई कम इन प्लीज?
कि क्या आप सहमत, आप जब कह रहे हैं कि ये एक्शन रिएक्शन वाली बात है, इसीलिए मेरा एक सवाल था आपसे। ठीक है, एक्शन रिएक्शन वाली बात होगी जैसे आप कह रहे हैं, तो फिर आपका ये कहना है कि जो रिएक्शन है वो सही है?
मैं बिल्कुल इसका पक्षधर नहीं हूं। किसी के धर्म पे किसी को टिप्पणी करने का अधिकार नहीं है।
ठीक है,
लेकिन
the allies are not on board as far as the DMK is concerned. Charu Pragya, you had a point to make before I get in Rahul Ishwar.
मैं ये जानना चाहता हूं।
Thank you. Poonam, first my apologies to you. I thought it is Shivani. I couldn't see the TV screen. But I want to respond to what the Samajwadi spokesperson has been trying to imply. There is a resurgence of culture in India. There is a newfound pride. There is anchoring in everything Indian. And that shakes people who've practiced appeasement politics for generations. It shakes their very core, because you know what? Their politics rests on the fact that they have divided society. And that is why they have a problem, and that is why they must continue to attack Sanatan Dharma, because that's the only way they find their identity and their survival. It's become a fight for survival for them, and it's unfortunate. It is so unfortunate. Why can you not indulge in positive politics? Why can you not discuss issues? Why is it that you and your allies look at the standard of your politics, right? You have a Lalu ji who's out
Manoj ji, मैं समय दूंगी आपको। चारू प्रज्ञा जी को खत्म करने दीजिए। I'll get you in.
He wants to attack our Prime Minister in a personal way. Hits below the belt, actually becomes horrible and mean. He doesn't understand that the country stands with him. So we are his family, he's our family, that's another issue. But look at their discourse. Look at the discourse of other leaders in the same party. So when DMK makes a comment which is anti-Sanatan, none of them found their voice. None of them. Now in Karnataka, if slogans of Pakistan Zindabad are raised, none of them found their voice to criticize it. What do they unite on? They unite on hate. What do they unite on? They unite on pulling down India, Indians' culture, Indians' traditions, all of that. That's how they thrive. And people of India have seen through it, and that's why you can't win any elections anymore.
मनोज यादव जी, एक ही मुद्दा रह गया है, इसीलिए बार बार उसी मुद्दे के इर्द गिर्द बात होती है। आज भी राहुल गांधी ने जब कहा कि वो चाहते हैं कि आप भूखे मर जाएं और जय श्री राम बोलें। अगर गरीबी की बात हो रही है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट की बात हो रही है, बिल्कुल कीजिए, इन सारे इश्यूज पे बात होनी चाहिए। बट जय श्री राम का,
देखिए बिल्कुल सही आपने कहा,
जय श्री राम का क्या लिंक है उसमें?
आपने बिल्कुल सही सवाल पूछा। नहीं, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल किसी को किसी के ईश्वर पे टिप्पणी करने का कोई अधिकार नहीं। इसीलिए मैंने ये तस्वीरें दिखाई थी आपको, ऐसे ही नहीं मैंने तस्वीर दिखाई थी क्योंकि ये कनेक्ट करती है। इंडियंस प्राउड, ये मोदी जी का डंका सुनने जाते हैं तो ऐसे अवैध रूप से जाएंगे।
शर्मा के पीछे आप लोग हाथ धोके पड़ गए थे।
प्लीज प्लीज प्लीज
टैलेंट जूनियर के
मुझे
लिए
मेरी बात
आपके
कहने
मुंह से कोई
दीजिए,
आवाज नहीं निकली।
आई रिक्वेस्ट
Charupragya, you asked him a few questions. Let him respond. I'll come back to you for a rebuttal. जी मनोज यादव जी,
मैं बहुत शॉर्ट में बात रखूंगा
जी।
देखिए, अभी जैसे परिवार की बात मोदी जी से कही गई कि मोदी जी के पर्सनल टिप्पणी लालू प्रसाद जी ने कह दी, इस पर मैं जरूर रिप्लाई करना चाहूंगा। मोदी जी, मैं पूनम जी, आप और इस पैनल में सभी लोग पार्ट ऑफ ए फैमिली। एनीवन हो सकता है, रिच फैमिली का हो, कोई पुअर फैमिली का हो, कोई मिडिल वर्ग का हो, कोई उच्च वर्ग का हो, कोई मीडियम वर्ग का हो, कोई SC ST वर्ग से हो, कोई आदिवासी हो सकता है, यही कोई साउथ का हो, कोई नॉर्थ का, बट सभी हम परिवार वाले
जी बिल्कुल।
लेकिन नरेंद्र मोदी ऑलवेज हिट फैमिली पर्संस। व्हाई? परिवार इस देश की सबसे सकारात्मक इकाई है।
जी बिल्कुल, जब परिवार की बात हो तो परिवार की बात करेंगे, लेकिन आज हम उस परिवार की बात कर रहे हैं जो ये इंडिया ब्लॉक है। परिवार में अगर कोई गलत चीज बोल दे, कोई लड़ाई कर ले, तो डांट फटकार लगाकर समझाकर बातें होती है परिवार में, नहीं तो फिर पब्लिकली डांट फटकार क्यों नहीं लगती डीएमके को?
भगवान को एक सेकंड मुझे पूरा कर लेने दीजिए। मैं कोई भी अनर्गल बात नहीं करना चाहता। दरअसल में बीजेपी ने ईश्वर को, धर्म को टिकाऊ नहीं बिकाऊ बना दिया है। यूज कर रहे हैं धर्म का, यूज कर रहे हैं पॉलिटिक्स में ईश्वर का, और ये मेरे ख्याल से
गाली आप देते हैं,
इससे भी बुरा
आप गाली देते
सर, यूज कौन कर रहा है? देयर इज jury still out on that, but Rahul Ishwar has been
पॉलिटिक्स में होगा।
Sure, who's using religion for their brand of politics? The voters will decide whether that works or not. But Rahul Ishwar has been patiently waiting, and Rahul Ishwar, it's unfortunate, irrespective of who does it. Even the Supreme Court has come out and said that hate speech will continue as long as religion and politics is not delinked.
Absolutely. And Poonamji, please remember, father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, was a great Ram Bhakt. He wanted India to be a Ramarajya. He wanted pluralism, happiness and harmony between communities. What's happening here? Hate speech is happening by A Raja. It's a matter of 153 and 295A. Had the same been said about any other community, it should not be said. I'm a Hindu activist who loves and respects all the other faiths. We believe in pluralism. The same should never be said about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or Son of God, Jesus Christ. But unfortunately, Hindu community has become some kind of a soft punching bag for the politician for their own political ulterior motives. They are creating these narratives of hatred. And please remember, can the same thing be said about any other community, any other faith? So it is a right thing to say, shouldn't we have harmony, respect, tolerance and diversity of faith? But this only applies to Hindu community is an unfortunate reality that our nation is facing. So please remember, whether it is Jai Shree Ram, whether it is Bharat Mata, whether it is India, these things are sacred for a huge number of Indians, and we should not be offending them. The simple
Absolutely,
point,
whether you believe it or not, whether it's your ideology or not, Sri Rajsekharan, one has to be sensitive to other people's faith, to other people's needs, especially if you're a public representative. You're somebody who's been voted to be the voice of the people.
Poonam, just rewind what all had happened in the last 10 years. Who said Goli Maro Salonka? Who had sent people into the CAA protest in Delhi? Who was responsible for Manipur? What is happening? How many churches were destroyed? How many mosques were destroyed? On what name? On what religion? Who did it? The Muslims themselves demolished their own mosque. The Christians themselves destroyed their own church. What tamasha is happening? Nobody is speaking against anybody. It is one section of people for political gains.
Two wrongs
My
doesn't
friend
make a
Rahul
right.
Ishwar is trying to spin and twist and saying
Two
he is an
wrongs
Hindu
doesn't make a
activist
right.
and he is saying I am a secular. Being secular means you should accommodate all religions. Everybody,
Exactly.
we are all Indians first. We are all Indians.
Exactly.
All
Being
Indians are
secular
my
does
brothers
not
and
mean
sisters.
that you continue to
all Indians are my brothers and sisters.
particular
Meaning,
and you get away with it. That
You-
is not
you- you
secularism.
cannot go and
I don't
destroy
know
the
who
church.
taught you the
That's right.
definition of secularism.
Okay, Sri Rajsekharan.
Don't interject me.
Sri
Excuse me,
Rajsekharan.
Don't interject me. First allow me.
Yes,
We
yes,
only
yes.
believe in-
I will get in Charupragya and Rahul Ishwar. Both Charupragya and Rahul Ishwar, I'll give you a time to rebut.
Believe in. Please understand. All Indians are brothers and sisters. That is what we studied. We learned from the schools where we went. We studied. We are all somebody today, including Raul. Suddenly you talk about religion. Suddenly you talk about God. From where
Who
it
is
all,
talking,
even
sir?
the Honorable Supreme Court has said that don't
who
use
is
religion
talking?
What is
and
sudden
God
about
for
this?
the political
Who is
gains.
You know what?
The Supreme
Can
Court has made
I come in,
observations.
please, Poonam?
Okay, see Raj Sekharan. See Raj Sekharan.
Don't try to fool out with people.
Okay,
Don't
see
try
Raj
to follow
Sekharan, there are
me.
multiple
What is-
facets to this. A, you cannot have a tit for tat sort of attitude. Just because someone else did it, that is how I will respond. An eye for an eye is going to make the whole world blind. That is not something that any politician should indulge in. Secondly, yes, we are a secular country. There is free speech, but there has to be a line that needs to be drawn. Where is that line? Who draws that line? Again, maybe subjective.
Nobody is against anybody. But one section of a group, one is trying to gain political mileage out of making hate speeches.
That is
making
A Raja. That
communal
is A
speeches.
Raja.
All
That
these
is
But that's the
A
same
Raja.
allegation DMK faces, sir,
That is
today.
A Raja.
No,
That
no.
is A Raja.
This was a public gathering. This was a public gathering that was marking the birthday of Chief Minister MK Stalin. What was the need to talk about Jai Shree Ram and Bharat Mata? Many would say the same thing.
Suffering from selective amnesia. Selective amnesia.
Yes,
Please, please
exactly.
understand. He never said anything against any religion. He just said we are all together. We are all different language. We speak different languages.
Sure.
Different culture.
I don't think
we
he
follow
heard
different
this
traditions.
So when he was talking about Tamil Nadu will not accept Bharat Mata, will not accept Jai Shree Ram, do you think that is also something that is not supposed to offend anyone's faith or anyone's sensitivities?
Let me make one thing very clear. Nobody has the right to accuse any other religion or any other god, including A Raja. That is a different point. But you said he spoke.
But it's a
against
part of the
religion,
speech,
which
sir.
He didn't. Which he didn't. You should not hurt the sentiments, religious sentiments of any religion. It is
Please tell
applicable to
this
all
to A
religions.
Raja. Please tell this to A Raja.
I agree with you
Please tell this
completely,
to A
Siraj
Raja.
Sekharan. Nobody has that right. But unfortunately, politicians don't seem to understand that is what is the point we're trying to make.
You conveniently forget what all the BJP leaders, the BJP spokespersons.
I'm not
were
saying the
writing
DMK is
on
forgetting that, sir. I said politicians conveniently forget it. I'm not trying to take sides here. The BJP will defend on what the BJP leaders have said. But like I said, we cannot have a situation where there's a tit
Two
for tat.
wrongs cannot make a right.
But Charu Pragya, you had a rebuttal to make. Go ahead.
Look at- So I don't think he's even heard the speech A Raja made, because it was seeped in hatred. And if you're talking to us about secularism, please explain to me, since when is it secular to allow someone to degrade another's religion and you sit by and watch like a bystander? Is that secularism in your definition? You don't have a concept of live and let live. You have a concept of I will practice appeasement and you better shut up and you listen to me while I do it. That's your idea of secularism. And Poonam, it's not my way of debating when somebody is screaming at the top of their lungs.
See Raj Sekharan, I asked the other panelists to give you your space and give you your time. Please allow the same courtesy to everyone else as well. It's a humble request, Siraj Sekharan, please.
I mean, you know,
Siraj Sekharan, you had your point to make. Let her rebut. I'll come back to you if you have a point to make.
You are keeping quiet. What right she has got? She must be some riffraff on national TV.
Sir, allegations are flying. Sir, allegations are flying from both sides.
Ask this lady to mind her language.
On national TV, I'm saying this. He's fuming at the mouth, defending a man who wants to cut down our nation into pieces. That is what this man is up to on national television. मुझसे बुलवाइए नहीं अब आप और. You're literally screaming at the top of your lungs, defending the statements of A Raja. It is shameful, and I think you are cut from the same cloth if you do not apologize for a statement like that.
First, practice what you are preaching others.
So, Poonam, I need you to step in, because if a man has decided to be rabid on television, I don't have to put up with it. He has to listen to this. He's here defending a wrong without even listening to what was being said.
Siraj Sekharan, let me come in here, please.
Partners have done.
Siraj Sekharan, let me come in here, please. We're talking about the kind of comments that have been made.
Look at the discourse.
We're talking about the kind of comments that have been made by public representatives. There has to be some sort of accountability.
Now can I please speak, Poonam, and you need to put the fader on this person. I don't know who he is and why he's screaming like this.
I want to get
it. The Supreme Court has said that A Raja is not a normal person.
That's what is said over there in his talent as well. That public representatives have to be extremely careful of what they say. They cannot throw caution to the wind and say there can be no consequences of what we say.
Very categorical. And Poonamji, Supreme Court.
Unfortunately, I am short on time, and I want to give Rahul Ishwar the last word on this because he's been patiently waiting, listening to all of this. Rahul Ishwar, yes, go ahead.
Just one submission. Supreme Court has been categorical on this. There should not be hate speeches from A side, B side, or C side. It doesn't matter whether you're ultra left. It doesn't matter whether you're ultra right. Hate speech should not be accepted. And Supreme Court categorically said police should take action, not wait for any government authorities or courts node. I hope 153 and 295A should be invoked. I, as a Hindu activist, I have filed case against Satvi Prachi for her anti-Muslim comments because they are rabid, hateful comments. Similarly, action should be taken against A Raja for his hateful comments, and this should be an example. I hope Tamil Nadu police will wake up and obey the Supreme Court order in this particular context.
Manoj Yadav ji, 30 seconds. Closing comments on how the alliance feels about this. आपने कह दिया कि आप इस टिप्पणी के बारे में, इस कमेंट्स के बारे में आप इसके पक्षधर नहीं हैं. क्या आपको लगता है इस इलेक्शन में इंडिया अलायंस के लिए ये ऐसे टिप्पणियां, ऐसे कमेंट्स प्रॉब्लमैटिक हो सकती हैं?
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं. उत्तर भारत में मुद्दों पे चुनाव होगा. नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने मंदिर को बहुत तेजी से प्रचारित करने का प्रयास किया, लेकिन वो खत्म हो गया मुद्दा. वो मुद्दा आज की डेट में नहीं रह गया. कल मैं रात को लौटा हूँ, वहाँ 1 या 2 बसें खड़ी थी अयोध्या में बाहर, जो टेंट सिटी बस आया है, और इतना टीवी पे दिखाया जा रहा है. आई डोंट नो कि ये सत्य है, लेकिन एक बड़ी बात कह रहा हूँ. मेरे ख्याल से उत्तर भारत के और मौजूदा सत्ता को नॉर्थ इंडिया के लोगों को साउथ इंडिया के लोगों ने एक लाइन दे दी है, अगर छेड़ोगे तो छोड़ेंगे नहीं. ऐसा मुझे लगातार महसूस रहा, क्योंकि उनके सेकुलरिज्म पे, उनके संविधान पे, उन सारी चीजों पे लगातार हमला बीजेपी कर रही है, जो वो बेहतर समझते हैं, क्योंकि धार्मिक रूप से
बट हमला दोनों तरफ से हो रहा है सर. whether that affects which party. Sir, unfortunately I'm completely out of time. 10 seconds sir.
Please give me 10 seconds.
10 seconds
10 second 10 second. क्योंकि उत्तर दक्षिण भारत के लोग धर्म को बहुत रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं, उनके पास उसके बहुत सारे मंदिर हैं और सारी चीजें, इसलिए वो इनको उनकी भाषा में जवाब दे रहे हैं, और मैं भी जवाब सही निशाने पे लग रहा है, इसीलिए बीजेपी परेशान है जी.
Who's using religion for what purposes? Who's going to gain and who's going to lose at the end of this? Is this a point, an issue that is going to be on the mind of the voter for election, or is this just political bickering that we hear? We'll find out sooner than later, but unfortunately I'm completely out of time. I have to thank you all for joining us here on this broadcast and sharing your perspective. We are slipping into a quick break here on this edition of Plain Speak, but on the other side, the fireworks are all blazing as far as West Bengal goes. There is a setback that came to the fore after the Calcutta High Court made some stern observations in regards to the Sandeshkhali violence. We'll get you details and the big debate coming up on the other side.
In association.
Up front, well, you're seeing the Congress's social media handles. They are trying to call the Prime Minister as belonging to a larger family of corporates. You know, that is again a point which may not get traction because it did not in the last elections. You know, Chaukidar Chor hai, Rafale, all of that just did not work. So is it a self-goal? Is it a mistake which really has been done by the opposition parties? It may have been a comment by Lalu Prasad Yadav, but its fire is something which is going to engulf the other opposition parties as well.
Now, reacting to Lalu Prasad Yadav's comments, Prime Minister Modi at a rally in Telangana and later in Tamil Nadu said, and I quote, "I question their dynastic politics. They say Modi does not have a family. My life is an open book. I will live for my country and that entire nation is my family." Other leaders like Rahul Gandhi and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal also hit out at the Prime Minister and said that his only family is his cabinet. Meanwhile, the BJP source has informed CNN News 18 that this will become a mass movement as people from all walks of life could associate with the new phrase, and this could be an emotional connect between the common people and the Prime Minister.
मैंने घर छोड़ा है खुद के लिए नहीं, मौज मस्ती के लिए नहीं, मेरे देश के लिए। देश के किसान, देश के गरीब, ये सब मेरे परिवार है। जिसका कोई नहीं है वो भी मोदी के हैं और मोदी उनका है। एक सपना लेकर के चला था कि मैं देशवासियों के लिए जीऊंगा। मेरा कोई निजी सपना नहीं होगा, आपके सपने, यही मेरा संकल्प होगा।
नरेंद्र मोदी जी का हृदय बहुत बड़ा है, उसके अंतर्गत पूरा देश है, समझे आप। 140 करोड़ देश के जन हैं, क्या पुरुष, क्या महिला, क्या हिंदू, क्या मुसलमान, क्या सिख, क्या ईसाई, क्या पारसी, क्या उत्तर, क्या दक्षिण, क्या पूरब, क्या पश्चिम।
वो शायद अपने कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स को अपना परिवार मानते हैं, मैं दिल्ली के 2 करोड़ लोगों को अपना परिवार मानता हूँ।
Prime Minister's speech was very clear. He said that everyone is my family. The DMK and Congress are family-run parties, but you're all my family. How do you see this? Because is this going to be the campaign for the BJP in 2024?
Madam, we all have to understand, in 1967, 66, 67, Honorable Prime Minister left his home, which is, we are talking of 57 years before. And after his visit across country, PM went to his home for 1 day. He told his mother, I'm taking your blessings. My service is needed for the country. I'm going to serve. And Modi ji's mother, Hira Ben Amma, gave her blessings and sent Modi ji and gifted Modi ji to Bharat. We all know. Now we have to talk in that dimension. A person last 57 years like a monk. Now people like Lallu ji in the stage, you say Modi ji doesn't have parivar. Today Tamil people reacted. We are your parivar, Modi ji and Kudumbam. They all switched on their cell phone lights and thousands of people here. They told Modi ji, we are with you. You are with us. So Modi ji today, very different speech, very emotional speech. And what was in his heart, he laid out bare.
And CNN News 18, Aman Sharma is now joining us on this story. Aman, what is the idea behind this new campaign by the BJP?
See, Anjali, it is the. I spoke to a senior BJP leader last night, and he was saying, chai wala, chaukidar, and now parivar. This is like giving a full toss to Prime Minister Narendra Modi before the 2024 elections. The opposition, like earlier, the BJP is not losing a chance to make this into a mass public campaign. What is going to happen, and already happening since last evening, is that BJP feels this Modi ka parivar phrase is going to become a mass movement. People from all walks of life, could associate with this new phrase. This could become another emotive connect of the PM with the common people. Nearly all BJP leaders, thousands of BJP workers have already added Modi ka parivar, to their social media handles. And now common people could make it bigger. People already know that how PM has been addressing them as Parivarjan, as his family members in the recent months during the PM's rallies. And now BJP feels people would even closely relate with the same. We could see some celebrities maybe amplifying this campaign as well. And, it was in 2014, if I take you a bit back, it was Manishankar Ayyers, of the Congress with this famous Chai Wala Jai, which had set the tone for the BJP ahead of the general election in 2014. BJP pitched the election then as one being fought by a commoner, against the family dynasty of the Gandhis. In 2019, it was Rahul Gandhi who took a jibe at Modi saying Chaukidar chor hai to allege a scam in the purchase of the Rafale fighter jets. But BJP had turned the tables then with Modi saying maybe Chaukidar, and all BJP leaders, took that line to attack the Congress. So personal attacks against PM Modi have never worked.
Right.
In fact, the boomerang on the political opponents of the BJP. And while people have related to Modi's commoner image in 2014, they didn't believe Rahul Gandhi's corruption allegations against him in 2019. So BJP has made the spotless and corruption-free political career of Modi over the last 23 years as the centerpiece of its campaign in 2024 as well. But now RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad Yadav's, Parivar jibe at Modi, will only help the BJP sharpen its political narrative. We saw it yesterday when PM, did not lose even 24 hours to attack Lalu. And, after the later he has said, what Lalu has said that PM has no family, now Modi is saying that, entire country is my family. And I think what the BJP is trying to do, that Modi will lead the way to get this empathy from the people. So, they are a part of his family. He stands for those who do not, for whom nobody stands. So, this development will make BJP's, I think, campaign against dynasty politics even more effective, as it puts, the likes of RJD, SP, DMK, Congress in the dock for protecting their family interests. So Mr. Modi saying that he stands for the larger cause of Bharat, I think it's a self-goal by India Alliance in these elections like no other.
Right. Aman, please stay with us. Our senior editor Pallavi Ghosh is also joining us on this story. Pallavi, we saw what happened in 2019. We saw that the remark that was made by Rahul Gandhi, Chaukidar Chor, have backfired. Can we see a repeat of it in 2024 as well with this Parivar slogan?
Well, I mean, political parties always look for a narrative, and this time round, I think the India Front Alliance has definitely given it on a platter to the BJP. You build up a thread, and the BJP certainly built up a thread. Whenever, and I'm really surprised at this because the Congress has always claimed that they too have been a victim of personal attacks. I remember 2004 elections, calling Jersey cow, making personal attacks on Sonia Gandhi. The Congress had woven it very well to make the point, look, the BJP is targeting a woman. And so they are the one political party who perhaps should understand that how in politics, whenever you start making those personal attacks, you tend to end up getting a lot of sympathy and you also move a narrative. See, what has been the narrative which has been pushed from 2014 onwards? Here you have a political party like the Congress, which reeks of entitlement, where the surname matters, and even the India Front is essentially projected a coming together of people who belong to dynasties. No matter what counter the India Front gives, that look at the BJP, that also has dynasties. But the man who's at the helm, which is the Prime Minister, is someone who doesn't come in with a big surname, who doesn't come in from an entitled background. So when you start attacking the Parivar, when you start questioning his Hindutva, it becomes very difficult then for the opposition parties and the Congress party to defend itself on these charges that you're making another personal attack on the...
Thank you for staying with us. 2 months ago, a team of the Enforcement Directorate and a central armed paramilitary force personnel were attacked in Sandeshkhali in West Bengal. The ED team was attacked as it started a raid at Trinamool Congress leader Shajahan Sheikh's residence. This was in connection with an alleged ration distribution scam. Their vehicles were vandalized. 2 public servants were left bleeding from their head. Allegations were that Sheikh Shajahan orchestrated the attack led by the locals so he could evade the law. He was in fact missing for 55 days after that, before he was arrested. The Enforcement Directorate had accused the state police of diluting these charges that were pressed against the accused, which is Shajahan Sheikh in this case. Sections dealing with charges such as attempt to murder, voluntarily causing grievous hurt to deter public servant and dacoity were dropped from the FIRs, what the ED said, an allegation that found mention in the Calcutta High Court as well. That, coupled with the conduct of the police over the last 2 months, prompted the court then its wisdom to transfer the investigation out of the state and to the CBI. Now, both the Enforcement Directorate and the West Bengal government moved 2 separate appeals challenging a single bench order on January 17th that ordered a formation of the SIT of both the CBI and of the state police to probe this jointly. While the Enforcement Directorate wanted the probe to be completely shifted out and transferred to the CBI, the state prayed that it stays with the state police. Several arguments were made in court, but the state's defense didn't seem to find any merit. So let's take a look at what the arguments were. The ED said that there were serious reservations against the state police and their conduct, to which the state government argued that the state government has acted and now arrested Sheikh Shajahan, which happened only 55 days later. The ED alleged that the police were colluding with the absconding accused in this case, which is Sheikh Shajahan. The TMC government said that the police was working without any bias and they were acting as swiftly as possible. The West Bengal police shielding Sheikh Shajahan was the allegation that was made by the ED in court. To which the state simply responded that we couldn't arrest him because there was a stay order as far as Shajahan Sheikh and any action against him is concerned. Now today the Calcutta High Court said nothing doing. There seems to be a bias that comes to the fore as far as this case goes, which is why it's the perfect case to be shifted out and given to the CBI. The 19-page order has some scathing observation against the state government, against the police machinery. As directed by a division bench presided by the Chief Justice of the state, both the case documents and Sheikh Shajahan have now been handed over to the CBI. West Bengal government has now moved the Supreme Court as well against this particular order. But in the light of the observations that were made, the TMC does find itself in a somewhat uncomfortable position, pushed to the wall, many would say. Let me take you through the highlights of what this court order said. The court observed that there is no hesitation in our mind that confidence has been shaken. They went on to say that there is no other case better than this one which requires to be transferred out, which requires to be transferred to the CBI. It's a pitiable state of affairs, they said, that the ED was not even given a copy of the FIR unless they were directed to. The court agreed that the ED was valid in making an allegation that the state police was underplaying the entire situation. The court also observed that the accused was arrested on February 29th and he's not an ordinary person. Accused Shajahan Sheikh held the highest office in the Jilla Parishad. Why then was he still absconding? It was the question that was asked. The accused was fielded as a candidate by the ruling dispensation as well, going on to talk of the links that he has with the ruling party there, which is the TMC. Which is why then the court said that it was imperative for complete justice that case be transferred out of the state and to the CBI. With such scathing observations coming to the fore, can the TMC deny West Bengal police's bias credibly? That's the question we ask on this edition of Plain Speak. Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, joins me on this broadcast. Spokesperson of the TMC, Riju Datta, is with me as well. And I want to begin by asking Riju Datta. Riju Datta, the court in its order today went on to say that they were talking about the case being transferred to the CID there, despite there being a restraint on the West Bengal police by the single bench of the Calcutta High Court. They went on to say that that act of the state police would be sufficient to hold that they were totally biased and every attempt was made to delay the investigation in order to protect the accused who was absconding for more than 50 days.
Look, I'll start off by saying this. A person who was accused of a lot of things was absconding. But what did the West Bengal government do? What did the Home Minister and the Chief Minister do? Our elected representatives, as you know, was arrested by West Bengal police, not by ED or by the BSF, because BSF controls the 50-kilometer jurisdiction under which the Sandeshkhali falls. All the accused in the Sandeshkhali, against whom the people of Sandeshkhali has complained, has been brought to book and all are arrested. Now, my question is this. When the West Bengal government and the administration has done their work, when Mamata Banerjee has done their Raj Dharma, why this over-exciting by the High Court, where today itself we have seen a sitting judge of Calcutta High Court, before his tenure, resigns from his post, openly does a press conference, joins the BJP and says, and I quote, he said, not me, Abhijit Ganguly said, that I was approached by the BJP and I was also in talking terms with them, vice versa. Which means a sitting judge of the Calcutta High Court was talking to the primary opposition party in West Bengal. And we have seen time and again, whether it was Mr. Ranjan Gogoi or Mr. Vishweshwar, who gave the Gyanvapi judgment on the last day of his tenure and then made Lokpal of Lucknow University, that how the judiciary is being influenced by the BJP. My question
That's a big allegation to make, sir. A, there's nothing legally wrong in him hanging up his boots before he retires. Whether he was in touch with the BJP before he decided to resign, while he was giving verdicts that were not favorable to the state government, that is still out to be discussed. And that's not the point of discussion right now. We're talking about this particular order, this particular judge. Are you saying you have no faith in any judges in the Calcutta High Court?
I am only saying this, that when the West Bengal administration has done their part, when they have brought the primary accused to book and all the other accused, irrespective of their political affiliation or religious affiliation, are behind bars and the CID is doing the investigation, why this overexcitement? And after the stunts by Abhijit
But the police
Ganguly,
didn't do its job. That's the allegation that's being made. The police didn't.
Says who? Says who?
That's what the victims are saying in this case, which is an ED officer, which is also what is mentioned in the High Court order. It says that despite the injury report of one of the victims, that he was hit on the head by a stone, the charge of attempt to murder was not added. The other charges of dacoity and of causing harm to a public servant were omitted from the FIR.
Why was Calcutta High Court, when you mentioned in your introduction, when there was an SIT formed between the central agencies and the state police, why did ED go to the High Court and why did and let me also mention it to your viewers, it was the single bench judge. And then
because the West Bengal police was restrained from taking any action in any of these cases, sir, by that single bench, by that single judge bench, which is why the ED went to court.
Can I finish?
Yes, 30 seconds. Let me get in Charu Pragya as well, for 30 seconds.
Absolutely. So when this order was there, it was the judge and the Calcutta High Court and the High Court of Calcutta that tied the hands of the West Bengal police on February 24th when my
But
national
it didn't
general
tie your
secretary
hands to
Abhishek
transfer the
Banerjee-
case to the CID, to the SIT. I beg your pardon. That's exactly what the High Court is asking. Why was it when you were told not to take any action until the next hearing? Even then, it was then transferred to the SIT, which shows there was bias, is what the High Court has observed.
No, it
But
was not
Charu,
that- no, there's something wrong here. There was no SIT probe in this. On February 24th, when my National General Secretary brought this to notice, next day the Calcutta High Court clarified that there is no provisions where we have tied the West Bengal government to arrest him, and within 48 hours he was arrested.
Sure. Okay, so your hands were tied by the High Court. Charu Pragya, the minute their hands were untied by the court, they knew exactly how to track down Sheikh Shahjahan and he was arrested immediately. So why raise questions now?
So let's leave all conjecture on one side and focus on facts and facts alone. I will tell you what West Bengal police has continued to do. The first thing they did was Section 144 in Sandeshkhali. It was the court that had to remove it because what was happening in Sandeshkhali? Women were trying to speak out. The government wanted to suppress that. The second thing, why did ED go to Sandeshkhali? It went with a search warrant. You know what happened? A mob of more than 500 people attacked these ED officials. Where was the police? In hiding. I'll also tell you what the High Court observed when finally they saw Sheikh Shahjahan. They said there are 43 cases pending against the man. 43 cases. He can be kept behind bars for 10 plus years. Another important point to note is that usually West Bengal police has shied away from filing any kind of an FIR against any TMC leader, and I'll give you proof of that. In the post-poll violence, there were actually so many complaints that were made. The Supreme Court has now directed the FIRs need to be filed by the state police. The state police didn't want to file it by themselves. So you imagine this. The victims had to come all the way to Delhi and ask for justice. All the way to Delhi. They could have gotten it done if the state police was actually doing its job. And another important thing, let's look at the speech given in Birbhum today by one TMC leader. He said, Mamta Didi, I am going to gift you 2 Lok Sabha seats from Birbhum with the help of West Bengal police. He says this on record. What does this show? That instead of doing its job, West Bengal police is doing political patronage of criminals. They are not worried about justice. They are not worried about any other thing, and I am thankful that the West Bengal court has taken cognizance of this and decided that this is not the way, because left to the police in West Bengal, I think the next step would have been they would be garlanding Sheikh Shahjahan. That is how he is being treated, like a VVIP coming home. After winning some war, that's how he walked in. We all saw those visuals, and it is shameful that even now you want to defend those kind of actions. So please excuse me, nobody in this country, whether it is citizens of West Bengal, citizens living in any other part like me, the court in West Bengal or the Supreme Court, nobody believes that your police is capable of even filing an FIR. Forget investigating it.
Sure. Before I get you in, Riju Datta, I'll give you your time to rebut, but there is some piece of information that's just trickling in that I want to get in first. This is the NCW's report that has been submitted to the President as far as the sexual assault allegations in Sandeshkhali were concerned. CNN News 18, in fact, has accessed details of what that report contained. It's a 24-page report. Several recommendations were made, including the fact that Sheikh Shahjahan should be arrested and that stringent action should be taken, which has now been done. Ananya, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details. Ananya, we're given to understand several of those recommendations that have been made, some of them implemented, but one recommendation that has been made is also that of President's rule in the state?
Well, definitely the President rule is being sought for in fact the case, and very, very clearly and categorically, more recommendations. I mean, it's a 24-page report as we have gathered from our sources at NCW, and what is very, very clear is that this very, very persistent recommendation that has now been made is with regards to independent probe, a central agency to be probing it, either of the two happening, or a judicial probe to happen in this case. So basically, the NCW is saying that, the West Bengal police is somewhere or the other not competent enough to actually go into the allegations. If you remember, the first inspection by the NCW had revealed that, there were allegations against the police official itself, and that's being carved out in this particular report as well. And that's the reason why, in fact, President Wu also has been asked for. In fact, this 24-page report also gives several recommendations, including that of a recommendation for, in fact, stringent action against Sheikh Shajahan. His arrest was one of the, in fact, recommendations, though the same has
right, he has been arrested. He's out of the party as well. We've done our job, says the TMC, but more recommendations trickling in. For the moment, Ananya, thank you so much for getting us that exclusive input. Riju Datta and Charu Pragya continue to be with us. Riju Datta, before we got in this information, you had a rebuttal to make. Before I ask you my question, if you want to make that rebuttal, go ahead, or...
You can, yeah, I'll do the rebuttal, then you can ask me the question.
Sure, go ahead.
See, Charuji mentioned 2-3 things. Charuji spoke about post-poll violence, and Charuji mentioned about 43 FIRs against Sheikh Shajahan. Now, categorically, let me answer it for your viewers. First, the 43 FIRs that Charuji is mentioning, probably she has not done her homework, was the charge sheet has already been filed in the courts of law. Why did the courts not give a judgment or start a trial on that? Point number one. Point number two, the post-poll violence that she is talking about, and all BJP spokespersons talk about, it was investigated by the CBI. Now, CBI, after investigating the post-poll violence, has, and I'm saying it with full responsibility, has closed shop in Bengal, in Calcutta, and has gone back to Delhi to file their charge sheets. So all these cases are in the court of law. In one case, all charge sheets have been filed. In the second, it is investigated by CBI. Why are you trying to cut a ticket on West Bengal government? We are doing the needful. Did you arrest Bhushan Singh? No. Did you take action on Teni? No. You have given him a ticket again. One of your BJP MP, his MNS got viral. He stepped out. You gave Pawan Singh a ticket in West Bengal, Asansol, one of those misogynist people who makes B-grade videos of Bengali women. Now he stepped out after giving a ticket. So you should talk about your own self-retrospect. Why are you cutting a ticket in West Bengal government? We are doing our job. We are booking criminals. Even if they were our leaders or public representatives, we have arrested them. What have you done? What has BJP done? Please answer that.
So the allegation, Charu Pragya, against the BJP is that the BJP can't have high moral ground. You can't act holier than thou, because there are many like Sheikh Shajahan, perhaps in the BJP as well, that the BJP has not acted against.
You know, that is their defense. They want to compare an apple to a Karela and they think they'll get away with it. But to put things in perspective and for Mr. Datta's benefit, Sheikh Shajahan was not even suspended from the party. First of all, he should not be suspended. He should be kicked out forever. Suspension of 6 years also took them 55 days. But it didn't take 55 days for Uttam Sardar. Those who are dispensable to them are kicked out immediately. But there are certain leaders who are protected by their entire dispensation. And that's exactly why he was allowed to be a land grabber. He was allowed to be a drug peddler. He was allowed to be a systematic exploiter of women sexually. And he got away with it. He got away with it till the point the High Court said, let the ED and CBI do their job. That's when the police got rattled. The police thought that if he falls in the hands of the CBI, they'll not be able to save him and treat him like a VIP anymore. So might as well bring him out of hiding, pretend we are arresting him, even though he's walking in like a king in our corridors. That's the truth of TMC, and it is not Charu quoting anybody wrongly, sir. Let's remember that a mother, a grandmother who was over 65 years of age had also come to Delhi and asked for justice, and that's when your police registered even her FIR. Forget
so
every other thing.
There are several reasons why questions are being asked of the state government, why there are doubts on the conduct of the police and the state government. You can't say we don't believe the NCW, they are acting at the behest of the BJP. The courts are being over enthusiastic in trying to give their verdict or their observations. The women there also are BJP people posing as victims. Do you have faith in anybody making these allegations besides yourself?
Let me, rather than going into what about you, let me state facts to you. How many women, Poonam, on your show or on other national televisions have come out and said that, you know, they were tortured by in different ways? Do you know, till now, when Shajahan is not there, Shajahan is been booked. There are several complaints, and I agree, I'm not here to, defend Shajahan. There are several complaints of land grabs. Till now, 170 lands have been given back to their rightful owners. The people who have complained that their money has been taken, their money has been returned by the government.
Sure.
But till now, only 2 complaints of sexual abuse. Only 2 till now, till today.
But we've spoken to several of them who have come out and said that we wanted to go to the police and our FIRs weren't registered. Would you disregard those testimonies as well? Which is why I asked, do you believe in anybody apart from yourself and your state machinery who everybody seems to have a question about?
Poonam, again I am saying, forget the police.
Why should we forget the police? The police is supposed to act. The police's conduct is under question here.
No, I am answering CNN News 18. My police has done the needful.
Sure, the police has done the needful. Unfortunately, I'm completely out of time. I have to leave it at that. Charu Pragya and Riju Datta, thank you so much for joining us here on this edition. It's a wrap from my side here.
Viewers, it's unprecedented and quite frankly unprovoked. But last week, a video clip quickly turned controversial when it turned out that among the Congress party's winning Rajya Sabha candidates' followers were some who openly supported Pakistan. In fact, the video clip captured a handful of Nasir Hassan's followers shouting Pakistan Zindabad as they broke out into an impromptu frenzied celebration. Initially, Hussain quickly repudiated claims by those who had made the connection between his supporters and the pro-Pakistan slogans. Hussain said, and I quote him, "What does Pakistan have to do with the Rajya Sabha election in Karnataka? There is no meaning, no occasion, no connection, nothing. Even if somebody is seriously claiming that it was recorded and all, the law should take its own course," unquote. Other state Congress leaders also moved quickly to question the authenticity of the video clip and also to dispel accusations, most of which were leveled by the BJP that its party cadre were sympathetic to Pakistan. Some so-called fact-checkers also put out their own investigation reports claiming that the supporters were being hounded without basis and that they had actually shouted the slogan, quote, Nasir Hussain Sahab Zindabad, unquote. But the Congress couldn't keep up the pretense for too long, viewers. The Karnataka government was pressured into commissioning a forensic examination. Though the forensics report has not been made public, the Bengaluru police acted on its findings by arresting 3 people. The facts are all there, viewers, as communicated to us by the police itself. The police also told the media that the audio on the tape was genuine and that the 3 individuals in their custody at prima facie chanted Pakistan Zindabad slogans. Viewers, the FSL report also corroborates witness statements. And the police claim the suspects got entry passes from Mr. Hussain himself. So in a sense, viewers, these were individuals very much known to Mr. Hussain. The police have booked these individuals for quote incitement and remarks quote prejudicial to national integration unquote. BJP submitted slogan video to its own forensics laboratory, and even that private laboratory suggests that the videos were not doctored, and the private lab report states the high probability of Pakistan Zindabad having been shouted. Now viewers, we've had to bring out to you the facts that have been put out in the public domain by the police because none of us have a physical copy of the FSL report which hasn't been made public as yet. Perhaps it will become